We all know that feeling, don't we? That immediate, sharp friction that just hits you when someone, maybe your partner, maybe someone at work, even a stranger, acts in a way that just, oh, doesn't fit how you think things should be.
Mm-hmm. That flicker, that instant tightening you feel inside.
Yeah.
It's so easy to read that as data about the outside world.
Mm.
You know, they are wrong, they're making a mistake, they need to be different.
Right.
But what if? What if that intensity, that struggle to just let others be messy, imperfect, unpredictable, is actually showing you something else? Like a mirror, reflecting your own relationship with, well, with uncertainty itself.
Okay. So you're saying the problem isn't really their behavior, but my resistance to it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Well, at least the suffering comes from the resistance.
Yeah.
And we look at it through, say, the lens of Buddhist psychology. We see something fascinating. We don't really perceive others just as they are.
We don't.
No, we see them through this filter. It's called projection. It's made up of our own past stuff, our experiences, our fears, our hopes, our expectations. So when what they do clashes with our internal map of, you know, how my life should look or how people should act, that clash, that's what triggers the emotional pain.
Okay, let's unpack that suffering a bit. Why does that misalignment, that clash, feel so deep? It's more than just being annoyed, isn't it?
It often is. That ongoing friction, the pain of pushing against what is, that's often described as dukkha,
Yeah.
suffering. And in this context, it can actually be a kind of grief.
Grief.
Yeah, grief for the ideal person we sort of projected onto the real one. We're mourning the loss of that perfect, stable image we had in our heads.
But what if someone is, you know, genuinely acting disruptively
Right.
or selfishly? Isn't it fair to be upset then? How do we tell the difference between, like, justified frustration and just our own stuff getting triggered?
That's the key question, right? And the self-inquiry, the looking inward, has to start before the reaction hardens into judgment.
Yeah.
You have to turn the focus inward. Well, ask yourself, when you feel that irritation, because maybe a friend seems irresponsible, what part of you feels unsteady or threatened by things you can't predict? Or when you're frustrated by someone's apparent lack of empathy, what need inside you feels unseen right then? What are you longing for in that moment?
Wow, okay. That really reframes it. The emotion becomes like a compass pointing back at me, not a judgment pointed out at them.
Exactly, a compass. And remember, everyone is shaped by their own conditions, their upbringing, their past hurts, their knowledge, their blind spots. They're operating exactly as their current state allows them to.
Right.
So clinging to this perfect version, the always understanding friend or the totally responsible partner, it's a bit like looking at someone through a heavy Instagram filter
Yeah.
and then feeling completely betrayed when they show up in real life, looking, you know, tired or inconsistent.
Human. It's so hard to let go of that fixed picture, though, that idea of them being consistent. It feels safer somehow.
It feels safer. And that clinging, that's where the pain often lies. There's this Zen image I find helpful. Imagine walking at dusk, you see a coiled shape on the path and instantly think, snake. Your heart pounds, you react.
Okay.
You're suffering because of the snake. But when you look closer, it's just a coiled rope.
So we react to the fear conjured in our own mind, not the reality of the situation, not the rope.
We react to the projection,
Yeah.
the snake. And the tighter we hold on to the idea of who they should be, the more suffering we guarantee for ourselves when they inevitably show their full, messy, beautifully unpredictable humanity. And this brings us right to the architect behind all this rigidity,
Which is?
the ego.
The ego often gets a bad rap.
It really does. We talk about it like it's this villain inside us. But it's maybe better understood as the mind's central control mechanism, like an architect to survive.
But an architect. Hustle.
Well, its main job is to create models of reality where you feel safe. And to the ego, uncertainty feels dangerous, so it builds these complex mental scripts.
Like how things are supposed to go.
Exactly. If everyone just sticks to the script, if your boss is always logical, your partner always supportive, the traffic always flows smoothly, then the ego believes nothing bad can happen, you'll be safe.
So it's basically trying to control the outside world to manage inner feelings, like outsourcing emotional stability.
That's it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's the great paradox, isn't it? The more the ego tries to control everything out there by judging, correcting, trying to fix others, the more it actually traps itself in the suffering of resistance.
How does that work?
Because anytime someone deviates from the script, which they inevitably will, it shatters the illusion of control. The ego panics, feels threatened, and quickly masks that fear with strong judgment. They're wrong, they're incompetent, they're inconsiderate.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Say, I have a colleague who seems really disorganized and it affects my deadlines. My ego jumps in, labels them lazy or incompetent. How is that judgment protecting me?
See, the ego isn't actually worried about their competence in that moment. It's worried about your safety.
My safety.
Yes. The disorganization represents uncertainty. Maybe the project fails, maybe there are financial consequences, maybe your reputation suffers. That feels dangerous. So the ego slaps a label like lazy on them. Why? Because by naming the problem, them, and trying to control it with your judgment, it attempts to restore the mental model. Okay, I know what's wrong, it's them. If I could just fix them or get them to change, the uncertainty goes away and I'll be safe again.
Wow. Okay, so the ego confuses stability with everyone just doing what it expects, compliance.
Yes. And when people exercise their autonomy, their right to be inconsistent, tired, or just different from your expectation, it feels like a personal betrayal because the script got broken.
Their freedom feels like a threat.
It can, to that part of us. And, modern life kind of amplifies this, doesn't it? Social media, everything curated.
Yeah.
We get used to seeing optimized, filtered versions of people and life. So the actual messiness of real human interaction can feel jarring, like they've somehow failed.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do? We've identified the ego's game. How do we counter it when we feel that trigger?
This leads us to the, truly revolutionary role of mindfulness. And I don't just mean as a relaxation thing. I mean as a practice of witnessing without editing.
Witnessing without editing. So when that feeling hits, the unmet expectation, the judgment rising, what's the actual step?
You sit with the raw sensation. This is what's meant by turning the light around.
Turning the light around.
Instead of shining the spotlight of your awareness on the other person you know, making a mental list of all their flaws, you turn that light back onto yourself, onto the one who is reacting. Where does this feeling actually live in your body? Is it like a knot in your gut, a flush of heat behind your eyes, maybe a tightness in your throat?
So I pause the mental commentary, the story about them, and just feel the physical thing, the disturbance itself.
Yes. You meet the raw energy of it, just feel it. And in that pause, something shifts. That rigid, fixed image you have of the other person, it starts to soften. You might realize the anger or disappointment isn't necessarily proof that they failed you. It might be carrying information about your own unmet need or maybe an old vulnerability that got poked.
That's powerful.
It is. There's a story about a Thai forest monk who was really bothered by another monk chanting very loudly nearby. He complained, tried to get the other monk to stop, nothing worked. Finally, his teacher told him something simple.
What was it?
He said, "You are not disturbed by his voice, you are disturbed by your resistance to it."
Ah.
And when the monk stopped fighting his internal reaction, just allowed the feeling of irritation to be there without feeding it, the disturbance, it just dissolved. The sound didn't change. His relationship to the sound changed.
Changing our relationship to the external event, not necessarily the event itself, that feels like where the real leverage is. And I guess this awareness is crucial when it comes to setting limits too, right?
Absolutely crucial, because awareness is what helps us tell the difference between setting a genuine boundary and making a demand.
Okay, boundary versus demand. What's the difference there?
Well, the ego, in its drive for control, usually defaults to demands. You must talk to me this way, or you have to finish this project on my schedule. See how it tries to manipulate their behavior to make you feel comfortable or safe.
Yeah, it's about controlling them. So a boundary is different.
A boundary is about protecting your own integrity, your own space, without trying to control their expression. It sounds like. I can't continue this conversation if the tone stays aggressive, or I need to step back from this task right now because the pressure is impacting my well-being.
I see. It's about my choice, my participation, not forcing them to change.
Exactly. A boundary is about what you will do or not do. A demand is about what they must do or not do. The difference is huge. And honestly, only that pause, that moment where you feel the knot in your chest and turn the light around, only that awareness can really show you which one you're leaning towards.
That takes practice, I imagine.
It does. But something amazing happens when we practice this, allowing others to just be themselves with all their contradictions, their imperfections, their confusion. When we do that, we start a kind of quiet revolution inside ourselves.
How so?
We start giving ourselves permission to be whole too, to be inconsistent, to be imperfect, to sometimes be wrong.
Because if I'm constantly demanding flawlessness from everyone else, I'm implicitly holding myself to that impossible standard too.
Precisely. And we start moving toward a deeper understanding. Maybe the separation itself, the idea of a solid me over here and a solid you over there, maybe that's the illusion. causing the friction in the first place.
What do you mean?
That me and you aren't fixed things. We're dynamic processes, always changing, always interacting. Conflict, seen this way, isn't so personal. It's more like two weather systems moving through the same sky.
Huh. Two weather systems.
Yeah. Neither system is inherently wrong, neither is permanent. They just are passing through.
Realizing that must feel like, well, incredibly freeing.
It's the ultimate freedom, I think. It's not just about grudgingly accepting others as they are. It's realizing the cage wasn't really their behavior. The cage was the belief that your peace depended on their behavior.
My peace was never actually reliant on them following my script.
Never. Think about two birds caught in a storm. One bird fights the wind frantically, beating its wings against the currents, getting exhausted. The other bird, it opens its wings, yields to the wind, adjusts its position, uses the currents.
It works with the reality of the storm.
Exactly. They're both in the same storm. But only one experiences a sense of ease within it. Letting others be themselves, truly allowing it. That's actually a very active form of love and maybe the most radical form of acceptance. It's choosing to meet reality without needing the ego's armor. And yeah, it requires the hard work of unlearning our addiction to control.
Unlearning control. That feels like the biggest hurdle, because the ego screams that control is safety.
It really does. So maybe let this be the practical takeaway, the challenge for you listening. The next time a situation triggers that sharp friction inside you, maybe a partner withdraws, a friend cancels plans last minute, a colleague makes a decision you just don't get, just pause for a breath.
Pause before reacting.
Yes. Don't immediately jump to the story, the blame, the judgment. Just feel the raw sensation underneath all that. Where is it in your body? And in that little space of stillness, just ask yourself this question. What if this moment doesn't need me to change it or fix it or correct anyone? What if it just needs me to meet it?
Meet it as it is.
Meet it as it is, the freedom you're looking for. It was never out there, waiting for everyone else to finally get in line with your expectations.
So when you stop fighting the wind, stop trying to force reality into your preferred shape, you find that the freedom, the peace, it was available right here all along.
It was always an inside job.
Which leaves us with that really powerful, maybe life-changing question to carry forward. Who am I when I stop needing them to be anyone other than who they are?